This is a quick tour of the new Google Search Console, which is being rolled out to users. It's in beta right now. A number of features from the old Search Console are still missing, which is why the old version is still available down here in the corner. But let's take a look at what's new and what things you should take away from the new Google Search Console, what important stuff is in here. First, in sitemaps, you should see the list of your website's sitemaps. If you don't know where your sitemap lives and you're on a WordPress blog and you've got an SEO plugin, chances are it's going to be in your SEO plugin maps settings here. So make sure that you've got that installed. If you don't have a sitemap plugin, you'll need to use a piece of software of some kind to do the indexing of your site to build that sitemap. The one I use is called Scrutiny for the Mac. There are any number of these, Screaming Frog, all these SEO tools that can help you build a sitemap. So that's for another time. Let's take a look at the main sitemap here. When you see this little icon coverage, it tells you what's inside your sitemap. The big thing you want to pay attention to, of course, is how many errors are there. If there are more than 0, go fix those errors. You'll also note that there's the ability to click on these different tabs. I'm going to select Valid here to look at the number of pages that are indexed. We see 1,814 pages that are submitted and indexed, which means that they are available in Google Search. If I turn on Excluded, I also see an additional almost 1,000 pages here that are either crawled and not indexed, discovered and not indexed, or submitted and are not canonical. These are important because we want to know what pages have been excluded and, if possible, to understand why. Or if in our sitemap we've intentionally excluded them, for example, like category pages, we also want to know that as well. Next, after you've gone through the sitemaps and identified any clear errors, go to the status menu. And what you're going to see here now are index coverage, which is the number of pages available, enhancements, if you have any, such as logos, one-box enhancements and stuff, and the overall performance of your website. I'm going to click on Performance here. Again, as with the previous chart, you can click on the different headers to see different graphs. Your first time through, what you're going to want to do is take a look at the different options here. You can look for dates, queries, pages, the time frames. With time frames, it's very useful. You can do a compare to do the current 3 months from the previous 3 months. If you've used this in Google Analytics, you'll see obviously some very familiar looking charts. These compares are useful for being able to determine if something has significantly changed in the last 3 months in the Search Console. So I'm going to click through these one at a time. Notice it looks like right around here in the last 60 days, right around day 60 or so, there's a significant gap for me. Now, is that relevant? Well, when you think about the time of year, it is currently the end of January, so this would have been end of November, early February, so we may have seen performance from Thanksgiving dropping off there. And your search rankings, do you see a major change in your search rankings from the last 3 months to the previous 3 months? Again, if you see a wild drop here, that means that something happened to your search rankings. So the dates compares very useful for understanding what's going on with your site. Maybe something has gone wrong. I'm going to go ahead and just go back to just the last 3 months. To understand what you're looking at, the total number of clicks here is, if you hover over the tooltip, is how many times a user clicked through to your site. The impressions are how many times you showed up in search. Some very simple math here. Divide this by this and gives you your average, obviously, click-through rate, which is 2.9%. Are there periods of time here? Clearly, yes, when things didn't go so well. Yep, there's Christmas and stuff, which for my site is not a big deal because I'm a B2B site, and if anyone's actually clicking on search results during the holidays, it means they're not doing holiday things. However, during other times of the year, I might want to see this significantly higher. I might want to see growth here. Looking at the position, again, you can compare. Is there a major change between click-through rate and the total number of clicks or impressions? If there's a serious gap, if one's going up and one's going down, then something's gone wrong on the website. This is all very useful for getting a general sense of the overall health of your site in search. You'll also notice down here at the bottom, both impressions and clicks change around for the actual queries. When someone searches for your site and you come up, what are you coming up for, which would be impressions, and then what's getting the actual clicks. So here we see, for example, what is CX, which is customer experience, 5,629 times shown up in search results, gotten 238 clicks out of that. And keep going down the list. One thing that is that should be of concern to me, since this is my personal website, is I don't see my name anywhere in the top 10. So it means I need to do some optimization on my own name. One of the powerful new tools is the ability to click on a query and see just the results for that and how many clicks your site has gotten. So here I clicked on ethics and marketing and you can see the number of clicks over time. I'm going to change this to the last 12 months, see if we can get a bigger picture, understand when people search the most for this. When I got the most number of clicks, here it was in late May, and then put on the impressions at the same time. When were the searches highest? Here in November, and also in May. Close that, and keep scrolling down looking for new things that are getting us clicks, or the things that get us the highest click-through rates. There's some of my my personal branding. I'm going to add in here for a query. I want to have containing my last name. And now by plugging that in, I can see sort of the branded searches that I obtain and what the trends are in them. So here, there are particular times of year when people search for me by name more than others. In this case here in October, late October, there are a number of marketing conferences then. So if you've got a brand or a brand name of some kind, or you're a product or service, you can use the query builder to identify branded search and build charts from that. We also see what pages get the largest number of clicks, views, impressions, highest click-through rates, everything that you would expect to be able to get. Here, this page gets the most number of clicks, how to set your consulting billing rates and fees. Again, I'll click through on that, and I can look at the search-based clicks and search-based impressions for this page, mapping them. So if there are particular pages on your website that you know from Google Analytics or from your own attribution analysis are high revenue pages, you can see what their search rankings are and the performance in search, and then improve those pages if you need to. This is another one here. What's the difference between new media and social media? Want to make sure that that page continues to do well. It currently has a position of 5.6, and it looks like in late December it took a hit in terms of rankings, and it took another hit in last July. So if I was using this site to make a significant amount of money, I would want, as soon as I saw a drop like that that sustained for a little while, I'd want to go in and and perhaps re-optimize that page, make sure that that page is as optimal as possible for obtaining new search traffic. So even though the interface looks relatively simple in Search Console, you log in and go, where'd all the buttons go, where'd all the menus go, everything is hidden within what I would say are reasonably interesting and intelligent menus. I'm going to click on mobile here. And now I can see just my mobile search catalog and see what kind of clicks I'm getting there, what are my impressions, click-through rates, and so on and so forth. You can even do blended filtering. So I'm going to take a look, for example, at my consulting billing rates post, which is one of my most popular posts, but I'm also want to restrict this to mobile devices. So how popular is this page on mobile? The one thing that isn't in here on this chart that I will be sending a request to Google for is the ability to download the data in this chart, because we obviously would want to perform more rigorous statistical analysis than you get in the interface. That said, for the average business owner who's using Search Console, this is probably going to be good enough to be able to slice and dice their data all kinds of different ways: pages, countries, devices, dates, queries, and gain some real insights that you can use to actually make decisions. So that's what's new in Google Search Console in the beta. If it's not available in your account yet, it will be soon. And my guess is, as with all things Google, it'll be rolled out without much fanfare. Check to make sure that you have it. If you do, great. If you don't, just be patient, and it will eventually arrive on your desktop. More important is, as features are migrated from the old version to the new version, making sure that they're actually in here and that they function as expected. So make sure that if you are enrolled in the beta, that you be a good beta participant and you submit feedback for things that you'd like to see, because that's the only way to make these products better. Thanks for watching. Please stay subscribed to my YouTube channel and to my newsletter at ChristopherSPenn.com.